working as a QA analyst at
Mm-hmm.
Pvt Ltd. So I'm in Florida right now.
Okay, so do you have any idea on data warehouse solution?
Uh, mm, I have no idea about that. I don't have any background on that.
So no IT background. Do you have any idea on a
I work
database?
as a QA, but I don't have a background on data warehousing.
And you know what is, I mean, how to write SQL, right?
Yeah, I know the SQL and stuff, but
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you. And how about Harita, the guru? Hello? Can you hear me, Harita?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So,
Hello.
what's your background, Harita? Yes, go ahead, please.
I'm from life sciences. I doesn't have any idea about this IT, so
Uh-huh.
I'm new to this field.
Okay, and any idea on a database? Are you able to write SQL?
Actually, I'm very new to this SAP, all these things. So I'm
Oh,
just
you are from
starting.
SAP background.
No, I'm very new to this background and I don't know anything about that. Right now, I have to learn everything.
So you are completely from non-IT.
Yeah, I'm from my background is life sciences.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. How about Imran?
I know a little bit about Datawarehouse and SQL and all that stuff. Not a whole lot though,
Okay.
because I studied in the college 6-7 years ago, and I studied Visual Basic, C++ programming, and all that stuff. I really never.
Okay. So you have some idea on warehouse
Yep.
and you know how to write SQL, right? It might be
Yep.
SQL,
I can write
SQL Server or
SQL.
Oracle, anything.
I can do Oracle, Informatica,
Okay.
and all that stuff I could do.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How about Manjesh?
What's that?
Manjesh, are you online?
Yeah, I'm online.
Yes, please. Can you please introduce
Can you hear
yourself?
me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I'm on this. I'm living in Pennsylvania right now. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
it.
I mean, are you already working or looking for a job? So what's
Yeah,
your background?
I'm working.
Working
I'm
as
from computer science background. I'm working as system analyst.
system analyst. Okay. So do you have any idea on warehouse?
Yeah, I have idea, some little bit
Okay.
idea.
And so how comfortable with writing SQL? Any database, it might be
Pretty
Oracle.
much. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Not that
Okay.
much comfortable, but I can write here.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I see Ravi. Ravi, are you online? So I'm gonna mute everyone and let me unmute one by one. Yes, Ravi, can you hear me? I think you have muted yourself. I can't hear you. Ravi, are you online? Okay, I'll come back to you later. Sharon, are you online?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I can
Yes,
hear
Sharon. Can you
you.
please introduce yourself?
Yeah?
So what's your background? Are you working or looking for a job?
No, I'm just working for a moment as a customer service.
Okay, and any idea on data warehouse?
I have some ideas, but I'm not still confident.
So how comfortable in writing SQL on database? Any database, Oracle or SQL Server.
Okay.
So are you aware of that? How to write select statements, SQL queries on database? No? Okay, no issues. Okay, thank you. So how about Soumya?
Hi, I'm working as a business analyst in San Jose. I have basic computer engineering background, so I know basic SQL, but I'm not very familiar with all the concepts.
So basic SQL is enough to learn business objects. Thank you so much. So the reason why I'm asking whether you know Datawarehouse or SQL Server is these two are minimum requirements to learn business objects, wherein you just need to have a theoretical knowledge what happens in a data warehouse. That is one thing. And the other thing is you should be able to write at least select statements, how to read the data from a backend database. It might be any database, SQL Server, Teradata, DB2. So you just need to have basic knowledge of database, how to write statements to read the content from a backend table. Just 5 to 10% of database information is enough to learn business objects, because to generate reports we have to read the content from the backend database. Only reading statements, select statements is enough. So it's not going to take more than 1 day to learn SQL. So you can actually Google it, and even if you don't know the SQL, so you need not worry about that. Business Objects is capable of generating the SQL on its own. For any customization that you want to do, you need to know SQL. So I know most of the people are from non-IT background, and I would like to start this session from introduction to data warehouse and what do we do in warehouse. Okay. So let me start here. So if you have any questions, you can always ping me in the chat window. So can you all see my screen? Just ping me in the chat window if you have any questions or answers. And coming to this data warehouse. So what exactly a data warehouse is, and why do we need a data warehouse? What is the purpose? Let's see. Ravi, can you please close the camera? I still can see you. Okay, thank you. Okay. So what exactly a warehouse is, and why do we need to have a data warehouse? What is the purpose? Let's see. So I'm going to show you one scenario where and why we need a data warehouse. For example, so let's say I have one company in ABC Pvt Ltd company which has multiple branches in India like Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai and Bangalore. Now the sales manager wants a quarterly sales report, and he wants the report in such a manner. Let's say it's a sales organization, and wherein a sales manager wants to see a specific item which got sold in all these locations. So how many quantities that they have sold a specific item. So you want to compare and check in which location they have a huge demand for a specific item. Now let's say in this scenario, since I have multiple branches, so let's say these are all stores that you have in multiple locations, and each and every location has their own database. For example, Mumbai is maintaining SQL Server database to enter their sales information. Delhi, they have Oracle. Chennai, DB2, Bangalore, Access. So like that, they have their own local database, and whatever the items were sold, so they are going to enter that information into corresponding databases. Now my requirement is, I want to generate a report by combining all the information of all these branches to show in a single report. So this is what the scenario wherein I have different databases in each and every location, and I need to pull the data from all these locations and show the report sales per item type per branch for first quarter to your sales manager. So here you have a problem. In order to generate this kind of a report, first thing you need to have a centralized location. From a single machine, you should be able to make a connection to all these databases, 4 different databases. And the second problem is, so when you have multiple connections pulling the data into your report, so through network, so there will be a performance issue. You need to make 4 different connections, and need to ping each and every database and retrieve the number of records what you have based on your requirement. So with some efforts, if you are able to generate the report, but still you have a problem of performance issue, because you need to ping multiple networks and pull the data into your report and generate your report, making 4 different database connectivities in the background. So to overcome this type of issues, so what we will do is we extract all the sales information from each and every database, and we store it in a common repository at a single site, which is a single remote location, and that we call it as Datawarehouse. So Datawarehouse is also a database, but the way how we store the information is different when you compare with normal databases, what you have or what you develop for your applications. So from these heterogeneous systems, we are going to extract all the sales information, and we are going to store that information into a warehouse. And how you are going to extract the information? So we are going to extract the information using ETL tools like Informatica, SAP BW, or SAP POTS. These are all multiple ETL tools that are available in the market. So the main purpose of ETL tool is to extract and transform that data. That is ETL, extract, transform, and load, to build your warehouse, wherein you already have source systems and you already have a target schema which doesn't have the data, but the main purpose of an ETL developer is to extract the content from the source and transform like how he wants in the target, and then load that data into your target. And once you load that information into your centralized warehouse, then it's very simple for the report developer to connect to a single database and pull all the records what he wants on top of his report. So that's why we need a warehouse. Coming to the next scenario, so let's say you have one shopping supermarket, and now I don't have any branches. I have a huge operational database. So operational database is nothing but to run your business, we need operational database. We also call this as OLTP system, online transaction process. So whatever that you purchase or transact through online, so all that information will be stored in a backend database, which is known as OLTP system, online transaction process. So this database is application-oriented databases. Like, for example, if you purchase any item in a supermarket, at the billing counter, so they use a barcode detector to enter the information, so what are the item details and how many items were sold. All that information they'll enter into their OLTP system at the billing counter, and they'll generate the bill. So that information they regularly, every day, they enter into their backend OLTP system, which means these databases, whatever that we develop, are based on the front-end application what they use. If you have observed the screen what they use to enter the information, they use some applications. It might be Windows based application or web application, wherein in that information they have what is the barcode and how much quantity and what is the price, all that information. And they'll enter all the information whatever the specific person has purchased, and they'll click on submit. And that information is going to store in the backend OLTP system what they are maintaining at their store. So that is OLTP system which is useful to run the business. Now in this scenario, I want to generate a report on top of operational database wherein the people are entering the information. At the same time, my management wants to see the sales information in a report. So what happens in that scenario? So since the system is very busy in getting the records into its database, you will not be able to read the content at the same time. The system is busy in inserting the records or updating the records. At the same time, you want to read the records. So here you might get two problems. Sometime you might get an error stating that a table got locked unless they finish the inserting, you will not be able to read the content. Or otherwise, you will get a performance issue that since the system is busy in inserting the records, you need to wait till they stop entering the information. So if the management wants to see the report, you need to ask data entry people to stop entering the information. If they stop entering the information, it's going to affect your business. So customer is not going to wait for a long time at the billing counter. So this is a scenario even if you don't have multiple branches, even if you have a single operational database which is OLTP system. If you want to generate the reports, if your management wants to see the report, it's not possible when you're running the business. So in this scenario also we need a separate database for reading the content what they have, and in that database we extract the data needed for analysis for purpose from the operational database and we store it in a warehouse. And we refresh this warehouse at a regular interval so that it contains up-to-date information for analysis, which means you create another database and we extract what all the information that you have in your operational database into your data warehouse. So operational database, as I said, it's an OLTP system, and your warehouse is known as OLAP system, online analysis analytical process. So in both the tables you have the same information, but the way how you store the information is different. The table structures are different. And now how you are going to get the information into your warehouse? So as soon as when you close the business, maybe somewhere around 9 o'clock in the night, so then we are going to run the job with ETL jobs which extracts the updated information what you have got in your OLTP system today. So we are going to extract that information and load it into your warehouse so that the next day whenever the management wants to see the report, they'll be able to see the report till yesterday, one day before, because today's data whatever that you get, that will be updated to your warehouse when you close the business at the end of the day. So in this manner we regularly extract the information and we load that information into our warehouse, and we use that warehouse for reporting purpose, and we use this operational database for running your business, and this is for analyzing your business. So with these examples, a warehouse is nothing but, so we can define a warehouse in this manner, which is a subject-oriented, integrated, time-variant, non-volatile collection of data in support of management decision. Excuse me. Okay. So this is the definition of your warehouse, which is subject-oriented, integrated, time-variant, non-volatile collection of data in support of your management decision-making process. So what does it mean by subject-oriented? And what does it mean by integrated? So subject-oriented, let's take an example here, what exactly a subject-oriented means. So a data warehouse, whenever you build a target warehouse, you need to have one database, and in that database you need to have some tables. And how you are going to get the tables into it? Using an ETL tool. So now, when you build your warehouse, we are going to build, you have some developers to build your warehouse. We call them as data modeling people. So the main job of data modelers is they'll analyze the source systems, which are OLTP systems, what they have in their business. And they'll get the information what kind of analysis that you want to do in your business. With that information, they generate one model in your warehouse. And with that model, so that information will be sent after generating your schema. So that information will be sent to your ETL developers, providing source database connectivity information and target data warehouse connectivity information. And as an ETL developer, his job is to extract the information from the source and transform the way how they want in the target and load that information into the target. And once they load it, now you have the content in your warehouse for generating analysis reports on top of it. So now whenever they generate the model in your data warehouse, they generate the model as a subject-oriented wise, something like sales, product, customer. So it focuses on modeling and analysis of data for decision makers, and it excludes the data which is not useful for decision support. So there are scenarios wherein you might not need some information from your OLTP system for analysis purpose. So we are not going to extract that information. We are going to extract only the information which is required for analysis purpose. So here, subject oriented, if you take an example of a banking sector, let's say you have a huge operational database, but as I said, this operational database is application oriented database, wherein in your banking sector you have multiple departments like loans, savings account, credit card and trust. So each and every department has their own application, and for that application you have a background database which is OLTP system. And whatever the information that they enter in each and every department, they are going to store it in a backend database. Now the same information, when you load it into your warehouse, you are going to load in the form of subject oriented, like customer, vendor, product, activity. Customer in the sense, a customer might be from a loans department, he might be from a savings account, or he might be from a credit card or a trust. In all different departments you have customers. All together, put it into a single place in your warehouse, which we call it as customer. That's why we call warehouse as subject oriented. We store all the information at a specific location, and we create a model in such a manner that it's in a subject oriented format. And then integration is something which we have already seen, wherein we extract the information from heterogeneous systems like SQL Server, Teradata, Oracle, and we load it into a centralized location, which we call it as a data warehouse. That's why it's known as integrated. And then time variant.
Welcome to GoToMeeting, online meetings made easy. There are 8 other callers on the call.
Be able to get past 5 to 10 years of data into your warehouse. 5 to 10 years of data, you can always read it from your warehouse. So we store all the history of our organization, so what's happening in our business, any information. That's what analysis means. Why do we need analysis reports? What is the purpose? So if you take a real-time scenario, each and every company, they release their company sales revenue information at the end of the fiscal year, stating that this is what our revenue, what we have generated this year. When we compare with previous year, it's 30% more than previous year. So how they are generating those kind of reports? By using this warehouse concept, wherein they have past 10 years information, and yearly they'll generate a graph how their company is generating their revenue. Analysis. And they'll take an average of 5 years information, and they can also predict how much sales revenue that they are going to generate next year. So this type of analysis report that you can create on top of your warehouse. And remember, this analysis report is to improve or to establish your business, not to run the business. We need a warehouse to see how your organization is behaving, whether you're generating less revenue or more revenue, and what is the issue, in which location you have an issue. So that type of analysis that you can do on top of your warehouse, but you need a OLTP system, which is operational database, to run your business. Not to analyze your business, but to run your business you need OLTP system, which is operational database. But to analyze your business, then you need a warehouse. You have separate users for that. Who are the people who analyzes your business? The people who run the business. And who needs this operational database? Customers. So that is why it is known as a time variant here, and non-volatile. As I said, we use ETL tools to get the data into your warehouse. And remember, once you load any information into your warehouse from your operational database, we will never update that information in your target. For example, let's take a HR department wherein an employee has been working in a specific company for almost 5 years, and he got a promotion, and now he got moved to a new location from A to B. Now what do we do in our OLTP system? We search for a specific employee ID and we update the location information from A to B. Now HR department wants to analyze the history of all the employees. Now can a HR get the information at so and so time where exactly the person is located? He will not be able to get it from operational database because he updated the record. But the same updated record, you're not going to update in the same manner in your warehouse. That updated information, we are going to store it as a separate record, so that based on a time you'll be able to get the information at which location he was there before, and now he moved to which location. Excuse me. So like this, once we load the information into our warehouse, we will never update the same information. If you get any updated information from your operational database, we store that updated information as a new record in our warehouse. That's why it's known as non-volatile. So with all this definition, so here we have some differences between operational database and information database, OLTP versus OLAP. So what type of information that you have in the database, and who are the users, and what is the size of the database when you compare with OLTP and OLAP and everything. So these are all some differences between those two systems, and with all these definitions we have a complete data warehouse architecture like this. So data warehouse is not only a database, it's actually a solution that we build for our own organization analysis purpose. Remember, there is no tool which is pre-built wherein you have a warehouse. A warehouse is something that you need to generate yourself based on your requirements. And to build a warehouse solution, these are all the tools that are involved in your warehouse architecture, wherein you have a source databases. It might be SQL Server, SAP, ERP systems, or DB2, Teradata, all OLTP systems. And we extract the information from the source systems to load it into your target warehouse. Again, target data warehouse is a database. And to get this information into your target database, you need an ETL tool. It might be Informatica, SAP BW, or SAP BODS. Right? So these are all multiple ETL tools that you have to extract the information and to load it into your warehouse. And once you load the information into your warehouse, and once you have the data in your warehouse, you can connect to this warehouse using reporting tools like SSRS, Business Objects, Cognos. These are all different reporting tools that you have in the market. And we connect to this warehouse and we pull the data into our report and we generate the analysis reports to see what type of data that you have in your data warehouse. So this is the complete data warehousing architecture, how it looks like, and we are at the end of the data warehouse architecture life cycle, which is reporting. So before you start reporting, these are all the things which is going to happen in the background, wherein the ETL people extract the information and load it in the data warehouse. And the way how you get the data into your warehouse is by ETL developers. So this is not our job as a report developer. You just need to connect to your backend data warehouse and build the reports. But as a report developer, you should know from where you're getting the data and how you need to connect to that data from your reporting tool. So this is an overview of a data warehousing architecture. What do we do and what are all the tools that are involved to build your solution? So any questions so far that we discussed? If you have any questions, you can ping me so that I can unmute you. No questions? Clear? I can again see your webcam. Oh, okay. So that's what happened in data warehouse and what are the tools that are involved in your warehouse solution. And if you observe, now each and every company has their own data warehousing solution tools. For example, let's take Microsoft. So Microsoft company has a source database which is SQL Server, an ETL tool which is MSBI, Microsoft Business Intelligence, and target data warehouse again SQL Server database, and reporting tool SSRS, SQL Server reporting services. So how can we transform the data? That information we need to get it from your ETL developers. If you are an ETL developer, in your target data warehouse, we store the information in the form of facts and dimension tables. So just to give you an information, the way how we store. So remember, a normal database that we develop in the form of normalized formats. If you have ever heard, if you have learned database, we have different normalization forms in your backend database. Normalization form 1, 2, 3, so on. Why do we normalize our database? So we normalize our database to avoid redundancy, duplicate data. And we split the information into multiple tables with using primary key and foreign key relationship, and we build our OLTP system. But that schema, whatever that we develop in our OLTP system, is not supported for analysis purpose. So that supports data updates and inserts. But for data reading, as number of joins increases, the reading performance decreases. That's why the data model what we build in our warehouse is completely different when you compare with OLTP system. The OLAP system schemas are something like this. We are going to have a star schema or fact constellation schema, which is extended star schema or snowflake schema. So what are all these schemas in your warehouse? Let's see. A star schema is nothing but, so let's say in your OLTP system, you store the information like transactional information and the information which describes your transaction. All that information will be split into multiple relational tables. So let's say you have employee and employee information, address information, and then sales information. Now that information, when we load it into your warehouse, all the columns on which you can apply aggregate functions like sum, count, distinct. So these aggregate functions, aggregated values, you are going to store it in a fact table. For example, sales revenue, discount, margin, all these are known as measures, and that information will be stored in your fact table. And all the information which describes your transaction, something like customer name, customer contact information, and geographical location of that customer, and all that information we call it as dimensions. And we store that information in a separate dimension table. And we define the relationship between a dimension and a fact table using primary key and foreign key relationship. So this is how it looks like, wherein a fact table in the middle surrounded by all the dimensions, which is known as star schema. So what do we do here in your fact table? If you observe, all the keys what you have are foreign keys, and here you have units and price. These two are transactional information on which you can apply aggregate functions. This information is known as fact table and surrounded by all dimensions, wherein you have a time period, product information, store dimension. These are all dimension tables. So fact table in the middle surrounded by all dimensions is known as star schema. Wherein for multi-dimensional analysis purpose, you just need to make a single join to get that information. If you want yearly sales or yearly price information, drag year and price from these two tables, you'll get it. Schema is nothing but database structure. When you create a new database, it should have some tables in your database, right? Those table structure is known as schema. Okay? Creating a table, but you don't have any data into it. Schema, the structure of the table is nothing but a schema. Skeleton of your structure, a table. Have you ever seen a database before, Ravi? Oracle or SQL Server, any database? Yes, no? Let's have a look at database, how it looks like. If you have not yet seen before, I'm going to show you SQL Server database. So databases are to store the information in a specific location in the form of a table-like structure. Any information related to your organization. So here, if you look at my screen, so I'm going to log into SQL Server 2005, which is a database. So now I have connected to my database server, and if I expand databases, I have multiple databases here. So database in the sense collection of tables, specific information. Based on the database name, you will come to know what type of data that you have inside in it. And if I expand this database, I'm going to have multiple tables in that database. So these are all tables. And if you want to see the schema of this table, for example, in a HR department, you have a department table. So what is the schema? If you expand this, if you expand columns, see in this table, these are all the columns what I have. This is schema, structure of the table. And if you want to see the data what you have in that table, right click and I'm going to run a SQL on top of that query. So you can run the queries here by writing database SQL queries, and I'm going to generate one query by default. Select So this is the select statement to view the data what you have in this table. Select star from table name. If you execute that SQL, it's going to show you the data what you have in that table. So this is the data. The schema is nothing but what are all the columns that you have in the table. That is the schema. And this is the data what you have in the table. Clear? Any questions? So to build a warehouse in any organization, they have their own databases where they store their business information, and on top of that information you need to start generating analysis reports. So to build your analysis reports, the database what they have, the structure how they build is not supporting your multi-dimensional analysis. That's why you need to build your data warehouse again a separate database using different schema. And using ETL tool, we extract your source information into our target warehouse, and we use that warehouse as a source for your reporting tool to build your analysis reports. This is what happens in the background, and once you are ready with your warehouse solution, now as a report developer, you need to connect to that data warehouse and start building your reports. So any questions that you have? Is that clear so far what we discussed? Please let me know if you don't understand. I'm ready to repeat once again. Any questions? So no need to worry about ETL tool and all those things because you have separate ETL developers for that. And to build your warehouse tables, no need to worry about that as well because you have DBAs, database administrators who are going to maintain the database. But as a report developer, you're going to get a connectivity details of your warehouse, and you're going to get a technical documentation. What are all the tables that you need to read to build this type of a report? With that information, we generate our reporting tool by connecting to all those tables, and we pull the data. Yes, I'm going to show you the real-time scenarios, but the data what I'm going to show you is not real-time. It's a sample data. Okay. Everything, whatever that we are going to discuss and whatever that we have discussed so far is real time. So we are going to learn our tool with what are all the options that we have in a tool, so that never matter what database that we need to connect to, we'll be able to perform the same process. Yes, that is enough to get a job. The only thing what you need to know is the tool, how to use the tool and what are all the options that you have in the tool. If you know that, that is enough to get a job. It doesn't mean that whether you have created reports on real-time data or sample data. We are not going to mention that. Never matter whatever the data, process is same. Ultimately, as a report developer, our main goal is to generate the output like how the customer wants. That's it. Okay? Yes, you need a Windows computer, Windows Server computer to install this business objects tools, but you need not install anything. Once you register with the classes, they are going to give you a remote server access. As you see here, I'm not doing it on my machine. I have connected to my remote IP address server, and as soon as I log into that, you have all the tools installed. You need not worry about your machine. You are not going to connect to your machine, or you're not going to install anything on your machine. You are remotely connecting to big classes server to practice, wherein you have all the installation in that machine. Okay? Yes, I'm going to give you the interview questions. I have the dump. And apart from that, if you are interested to write certification, I can also give you sample certification questions as well at the end of the session. Any other questions? As I said, you are going to get an IP address if you have registered with your business objects, and use that IP address to log into their machine using RDC connection, remote desktop connection, and you log into our big classes server and you can start practicing it, wherein you have all the installation in that machine. And the duration of this course might be 1.5 months, 1 hour per day, same timings as of today. So no classes on weekends. So to complete this course, it's going to take 35 hours. So no classes on weekends, only weekdays, 1 hour per day. And it might extend if you have more questions after the session. So how long you are going to get the access, that you need to discuss with your big classes people. So once you...
Welcome to GoToMeeting, online meetings made easy. There are 8 other callers on the call.
Till the end of the course, but I think you might get even after we end up with the session also to practice. But the period you need to confirm with big classes. Yes, after completion of the course, you can still practice, but make sure with big classes, since how long they are going to give the access. Is that for 1 month or 3 months or 4 months? That you need to discuss with big classes. And even after that 4 months, if you want an access, yes, you need to pay for something only for access, and so that you will get access forever. But that information you need to discuss with big classes. You need not install business object software on your machine at all. The class was for 50 hours. It based on the people and the questions that they ask. That's why we mentioned maximum 50 hours, which is not going to extend more than that. Because there are some scenarios we came across wherein the people want to repeat the classes and they have more questions, which is going to consume a lot of time. So we have been giving this training for more than 2 years, and we have done a lot of batches, and based on that analysis we came to know that this is the maximum amount of time that we need to spend for each and every session. But it's not always. Okay? Actual agenda is for 30 to 35 hours, but based on your questions and based on the repeated sessions, it might extend to 50 hours, which is maximum. Yes, the class is from Monday to Friday for those who live in US, and for those who are from India, it's for Tuesday to Saturday for those who live in India. After getting the job, if you need a support, so that's a different thing that we need to discuss at the end of the session. But I'm going to give you my contact details of big classes wherein you can send an email if you have any questions. But support for your job, you have different people for that. We'll also share that information once we complete the session. Okay? Which BI tool is better? See, here you have lot of BI tools in the market. The reason why you have a huge demand for SAP BI is SAP acquired business objects reporting tool, and as we know that SAP has more than 48% of customers throughout the world. So it's not that whatever the new projects that you get, not only new projects, the existing projects what they already have, even those projects that they are migrating to business objects reporting tool. Wherein previously they used to have BEX reporting tool, but all the reports whatever that they develop, if they want to upgrade to the latest version, they have to use business objects as a reporting tool. That's why you have a huge demand for SAP BO. So the timings that will be based on the students, the number of students, they'll discuss with each and every student, and they'll set up a specific time which is feasible for all. That's why they didn't confirm about the time. So most probably the time which you logged in today, same time it might be, but once you people register, they'll discuss with each and every people, and they'll set some time which is feasible for everyone. So as I said, MicroStrategy or BO, each and every tool has their own importance. As I said, the reason why you have a lot of jobs for BO is SAP acquired business objects and a lot of huge changes that they are making on BO tool, and the existing customers and new projects are more on business objects now or even in future as well. Yes, I'm going to mute all your people when I deliver the course, but at the end or in between, if you have any questions, if you want me to unmute, you can let me know so that I can unmute. The reason is you'll come across with a lot of disturbance if I unmute everyone at a time. So in our main course, I'm going to teach 3.1 followed by 4.0. Okay, if that is the problem, Imran, I can unmute you. Do you have any questions? Let me unmute 1 second. Yes, Imran, I think you have muted yourself. If you unmute, you can speak to me. See here, when we deliver the session, at that time I'm going to mute. In between, if you have any questions, yes, just ping me that I have a question. I can stop there and you can ask me the question so that I can unmute you. Okay, I can unmute one by one.
Thank you.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So any other questions? So as I said, our course agenda is we are going to learn 3.1, and once we end up with 3.1, I'm going to show you what's new in 4.0. The reason why I'm stressing on 3.1, even then we have a latest version 4.0, is lot of projects what we have currently on production are on top of 3.1, not on 4.0. So 4.0 released recently, and all the projects what they develop on 4.0 version is in a test server. They are actually testing the latest software to see whether it is compatible with the old version, whatever that they have. So it's in an intermediate phase, not completely into 4.0. So the people who work, they might need to work on 4.0, or they might need to work on 3.1, or in an intermediate stage wherein they are upgrading from 3.1 to 4.0. So for this purpose, you should know 3.1 as well as 4.0. Most of the production support projects are on 3.1, not on 4.0, remember. So that's why I'll start with 3.1, and once I end up with 3.1, I'll also show you 4.0. So that you can compare and you can see what changes that they made and what are all the new options that they have included and what are all the new tools that they have included when you compare with 3.1. Here. Okay, if you are unable to attend the session, please let us know one day before. We'll record the session, and for those who cannot attend that specific session, you'll be able to get the webinar, recorded webinar. But remember, not for all the classes. We don't support recorded sessions for the complete BO session because as per the big classes policy, we never share the information. But yes, there are some cases if the people are unable to attend, only that specific session will be recorded and will be sent to your email. Access for this computer, that information please discuss with big classes. They are going to mention up to what time that you are going to get the access. And you can also ask them that, so it might be 1 month or 2 months. And after 2 months you still need an access. That also you can discuss with big classes. Okay. So any access information or server related questions, discuss with big classes before you register, and if you are satisfied, go ahead and register to attend the regular classes. Notes, I am going to give you the PDF files for each and every tool at the end of the specific tool. When we finish a specific tool, I am going to give you the material for that specific tool. For CV, I am going to send you the sample CVs. So by looking at that, you need to build your own CV. But I can provide you the sample CVs on BO. Any other questions? That's it. So this is what we discuss and what we do in our training session. And remember, as an overview, in business objects we are going to learn Universe Designer, Web Intelligence Reporting Tool, Crystal Reports, Excelsius, and some part of Business Objects Admin. So these are all the main content of our Business Objects training. And when I'm going to start the session, that will be decided by big classes based on the number of registrations. So they'll set up some time, and they are going to send an email only to the registered people providing the link. From there onwards, it will be regular classes. We are going to conduct regular classes every day once we decide the batch. Okay, so most probably maybe in 2 to 3 days, or might be from coming Monday, they might start based on the number of registrations. Any other questions? So that's all about demo session. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope I see you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected.